Some indie games refuse to let go of you. You think you'll uninstall them, clear up some hard drive space, move on with your life, and then 3 hours later you're right back where you started thinking, oh, just one more run. This video is for players who want games that never really end, that keep surprising you, and that live rent-free in your head. So I pulled together a list of 10 indie games so addictive that you'll never want to uninstall them. And if you think I've missed any, let me know in the comments below, because I'm always looking for more games to add to my backlog. A game about digging a hole is exactly what it sounds like, and yet still somehow not at all what you think. It's a minimalist looping game about digging endlessly downward, and somehow it scratches that primal itch of progress in the simplest way possible. No complex systems, no sprawling story, just the hypnotic rhythm of tunneling deeper. It's the kind of game you fire up thinking you'll kill 5 minutes and then wonder where your entire evening went. There's something almost meditative about it, and that's why it earns a spot here, because sometimes the most addictive games are the ones that look the simplest on the surface. Next up is Celeste by Maddie Makes Games. On the surface, it's a precision platformer about climbing a mountain, but it's also a game that latches on to your determination. The controls are so tight that every time you fail, and you will, a lot, you will instantly want to try again. But it never feels like wasted time. And beyond the mechanics, Celeste has a story that actually gives weight to your climb, connecting frustration to perseverance in a way that few games can manage right. It's a rare blend of challenge and meaning that makes you want to keep going, not just to beat the level, but to see what's waiting at the top. Hades from Supergiant Games is one of those titles that, even when you think you're done, it has other plans for you. Every escape from the underworld feels fresh because the game constantly reshuffles its weapons, powers, and encounters. And the genius is that the story moves forward through failure. Every run, regardless of success, reveals more about the characters and their world. You're not uninstalling this one until you've seen what every god, every weapon, and every storyline has to offer. At number 7, we've got Enter the Gungeon from Dodge Roll. This one's pure chaos, but in the best way possible. It's a twin-stick shooter roguelike where every floor throws bullet hell insanity at you, and yet somehow it's hilarious. The game is stuffed with references and absurd weapons, like a gun that shoots bullets, shaped like guns. The more you play, the more wild combinations and secret rooms you uncover, and that constant drip of discovery makes it impossible to stop. It's fast, funny, and it's the kind of game you keep installed because you know you'll want to dive back in for another ridiculous run. Dead Cells by Motion Twin is the definition of just one more run. It's a roguelike Metroidvania where combat feels smooth and satisfying, and progression always dangles something new in front of you. A fresh weapon, a mutation, a hidden path you didn't notice the first time before. The art has this painterly grit that makes the world feel alive, and every run teaches you a little more about how to push further. It's addictive because it balances punishment with reward just perfectly. Enough challenge to keep you sharp, but enough progress to keep you hooked. That mix means you'll keep it installed long after you thought you've had your fill. Quick pause before we get to our top 5. If you're into indie games like these, then you should check out my podcast, Indie Game Arcade. It's me and my co-host doing deep dives into indie game titles, hidden gems, and all the weird stuff in between. Comes out twice a week. You can listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. Alright, let's get back to the list. Alright, so this one might be the purest definition of addictive. Cookie Clicker from Julien Orte-Taino. It starts with one click. Just one. Then upgrades, auto-clickers, grandmas, and suddenly you're baking billions of cookies while telling yourself you'll close the window at any second. It's simple, it's absurd, and it's genius in the way it turns exponential growth into an irresistible feedback loop. Even when you're not actively playing, you're thinking about it. That's why this one never leaves your hard drive, because you know that deep down somewhere you kind of like being owned by cookies. At number 4 is a predictable one for this list, Balatro by Local Thunk. And that is how the dev pronounced it, so don't at me in the comments, please. This is a poker roguelike, a phrase that doesn't sound like it should work, but oh, it does. You're dealt hands, but the twist is building synergies through jokers, multipliers, and clever combos that completely change how you approach the game. Runs can snowball in the most satisfying ways, and the randomness keeps you glued because you're always chasing that one perfect build. It's deceptively simple at first glance, but once it clicks, you realize you're hooked. This one's a time sink in the best possible way. Slay the Spire from Megacrit basically wrote the book on deck building roguelikes. Every run forces you to make tough choices, which cards to keep, which path to take, and how to gamble with relics. And because no two runs ever unfold the same, the replay value is massive. It's addictive because it turns every strategy into suspense. Every decision feels like it could either make or break the run, and you can't help but wonder if next time you'll make it a little further. If you ever install it once, good luck uninstalling. It has a way of digging in and never letting go. And I would know. I have a copy installed on every device I own. At number 2, we have The Binding of Isaac Rebirth by Edmund Macmillan. This is one of those games that basically defined addictive indie game design. On the surface, it's a dark, twisted roguelike shooter, but underneath, it's an endless toy box of items, power-ups, and bizarre interactions. Every run feels like opening up a grab bag where you'll never know if you'll end up absurdly overpowered or hilariously doomed. And with years of updates and community mods, it's practically infinite. Players have sunk thousands of hours into Isaac, and it's not hard to see why. It always has another surprise waiting. And of course, the number 1 spot goes to Stardew Valley by Concerned Ape. This game isn't just a farming sim. It's a life you build and never want to leave. Planting crops, raising animals, fishing, mining, making friends in town, it's a cozy routine that somehow never gets old. And I think what makes Stardew Valley so addictive is the freedom. You can spend a day chasing profits, exploring the mines, or just talking to villagers, and it always feels rewarding. Plus, Concerned Ape keeps coming back with updates, so every time you think you're finally done, there's a new reason to dive back in. It's a world you keep coming back to year after year, and that's why it takes the top spot. Alright, so there you have it. 10 indie games that stick around long after you thought you were all done. Games built on surprise, addictive game loops, and that just one more run mentality. Which of these games is living permanently on your hard drive? Let me know in the comments below. I want to see which games that you personally can't quit. And if you want more indie game recommendations, deep dives, or discussions, make sure you don't miss Indie Game Arcade. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.